On Sunday, Jordan and I got together for a 2,400 point battle of Warhammer. I brought 2,400 points of lizards, and he played 2,400 points of my empire. I didn't get as many pictures of the battle as I'd like, so some of them won't have good pictures of what's going on, but I'll try to put them together as best I can. Also, the empire, there are some proxied models in there too, so you might see some things that might be kind of confusing. I'll try to explain that if that comes up as well. So for deployment, I will start off the Empire. There were some Empire crossbowmen detachment attached to a large unit of halberders. Then there's a cannon, then a unit of Reichsguard Knights, and in the unit of Reichsguard Knights there was an Archlector and a Captain BSB. Also, I guess in the halberders there was a Warrior Priest. Then there was 25 swordsmen, and they also had a warrior priest. And then up on the hill there was a mortar and a unit of inner circle knights. And then behind the hill there was a unit of 3 demigryph knights. And then right outside the building he had some huntsmen scouts with Wolfheart in there. So that was his deployment. For the Lizardmen there was a salamander hunting pack with an extra handler. Then there was a unit of 6 Kroxigors, and then another unit of 6 Kroxigors. Then there was a unit of 24 Saurus with spears in full command, 24 of them. And then there's a Slann, who was the General and BSB, and then a unit of 25 Saurus warriors with hand weapon and shield with full command, and then a unit of Kroxigor, another unit of 6 of them. And then there was another unit of a salamander hunting pack with an extra handler on his far side. So this scenario had an 18-inch box in the middle. You can kind of see there's some little tiny dice laid out in the board. And there was bonus points. We were playing a scenario from last year's Adepticon. And the scenario, you got extra bonus points for having banners within that box at the end of the game. So that's what that is for. So the Lizardmen's first turn, I moved up. You can kind of see kind of in a little bit of an arc. So a moderate move forward. I thought maybe he didn't have a ton of shooting, so I thought maybe with my light, I took a Lore Master Light. So I thought with some of my light magic, I could get some damage done, and then also get like time warp off on a unit to maybe get a charge off, that, you know, a long charge or something. So that was my plan with my first. So in that first Lizardman magic phase, I was able to get 1 wound off the cannon with a missile, and then I also got time warp off on one of my units of Crocs. The salamanders, during my shooting phase, I did get a couple huntsmen, but they're immune to psych, so they didn't have to take a panic check. But I did get some of his crossbow state troops, and they failed their panic check and boogied. So the Lizardman first turn was pretty successful. So for the Empire's first turn, he advanced with most of his units. I believe declared a charge on my salamander on the far left, on my far left flank, which they fled from, which kind of worked out pretty well on my next turn, which I'll get to in a little bit. His cannon was able to take off a couple Saurus, and the mortar went far off. And for magic, the Warrior Priest spells, I don't remember if he got any off. It wasn't, it didn't really matter, I guess, because, well, I think he did get one off on the Halberdiers, because then that did happen in the next combat, because he moved them up far enough that I was probably going to be charging them. Also, during his movement phase, he took control of that building with his huntsman and Wolfheart there. So So yeah, my turn 2 saw a pretty major combat with my Saurus, and 2 of my units of Croxagors all charged his Halberdiers, but 1 unit of my Croxagors failed their charge. But I was kind of planning on not all 3 of them getting in. I was pretty much happy that that didn't occur anyways, so it worked out. It's easier to get more Crocs in this way, and I just wanted to make sure that I got at least 2 of my 3 units in there. So then during that magic phase, things actually went real well for me. He let me get off Phos Protection boosted, and then I cast Speed of Light on my Saurus block, and it was irresistible. And it ended up being the one, my miscast was to do a wound everyone in base contact with the caster. Well, my Slann was solo, so that had no effect, but I did lose a couple dice, but I still had enough dice to throw at Baroness Time Warp on my Lizardmen, and I wasn't throwing a lot of dice at these. I think I threw 3 at Speed of Light, and I had 3 6s, and then I threw 4 dice at Baroness Time Warp, and I got 2 6s in that one, and so that one also went off irresistible. On that one, my Slann did take a wound, which comes back to bite me later. But it was definitely good to have both of these spells off. So when we got to that combat, I wiped out all but just a handful of Halberdiers, and the Warrior Priest was still standing, I think, but he needs Snake Eyes for his break test. He fails it, but he has his reroll where he does roll the Snake Eyes he needed, which was really unfortunate for me because, as you can kind of see in the background, there's a unit of Knights there. It looks in the picture like they're kind of far away, but they really wasn't that far, like maybe 6 or 7 inches from my source. So I was really hoping to get the overrun and at least get kind of in front of them, or actually get into their flank would have been great. I mean, I would have taken charge, because the reason I wanted that was because my Slann was kind of sitting out in front of them. It was a little bit of a long charge, but I didn't want him to be able to charge my Slann with that, because my Slann was immune to mundane weapons, but I knew he had 2 characters in there that could have, or that did have magic weapons. So yeah, here's the part where I failed to take pictures for a little while. So what happened was he did get that charge in on my Slann, which I still thought wouldn't be too terrible because I had a unit of Crocs and a unit of Saurus flanking my Slann that could come in and flank the Knights and put them out. But what happened was he had... So I declared a challenge, or I issued a challenge just so I'd only have to fight one of his characters, and he accepted with his Archlector, who had the Speculum. So switching sets with him was actually probably beneficial to me. I had Phos Protection off 2 to make it harder for me to get hit. But he had the Mace of Hellstrom, and so all he really needed was 1 hit, which he did get, and then he also, of course, wounded. I didn't get my ward save, and he ended up rolling 4 for the number of wounds. So with that miscast I had suffered, he had just enough to take my Slann off the board. So that was a little frustrating for me, and I was worried about it. I figured I'd, could weather 1 round of combat with the Archlector. I mean, Chansey's not going to hit me. Even if he does, I thought, hopefully not do enough wounds to kill me, or I'll ward save it. But none of that worked out in my favor. So his Knights were able to reform and stuff. On this turn, then I did finish off the Halberdiers, and I chased, or I didn't completely. The Warrior Priest was alive with 1 wound left on him, but I killed the rest of the Halberdiers. So I chased down the Warrior Priest with my Saurus unit, and I reformed my Crocs so that they'd be facing the Knights that had just killed my Slann. So then on my next turn, I was able to charge in. I had a unit of Croxagor in the front of the Knights. I had a unit of the Croxagor in the flank of the knights, and then I had a unit of my unit of 25 Saurus with hand open shields in the other flank of his knights, the Reichsguard knights. And I knew this was going to be, a little bit of a drawn out battle because of their being stubborn and their high armor save, but luckily I had a lot of Kroxigor with their great weapons that really helped me cut through the armor save really well. And so I was able to, the first round I was able to take out the leadership of with the general and the BSB, so at least he wouldn't be re-rolling his stubborn test. And then one more round of combat I was able to destroy the rest of the knights. And meanwhile, while that was going on, to discuss what's kind of going on the other side of the table, his Demigryphs, I guess I missed earlier, had fled from a charge from the Kroxigor unit that had Barona's Time Warp on it. That's why they're not really in the battle right now, because I was where they're positioned, I was able to get a long charge with Barona's Time Warp that would have put me in their flank. And he didn't really, it's one of those things with Barona's Time Warp, you don't really think about some of the charges that you can make with that, because it seems like they're too far away, and then it's really not that bad of a charge. So so he had to flee from that, and then so that's why they were just getting back into the combat then. And his other unit of knights had ended up so when that Kroxigor, I redirected onto the building, and I wasn't able to eliminate Wolfheart and his huntsmen. I killed some, but not enough to make him break out of the building. So then he was able to flank my Kroxigor with his other unit of knights. So the other unit of knights took out that unit of Kroxigor during this time. So this picture was taken after I finally got rid of the knights. That's both the units of Kroxigor that were in that battle. You can see one of them lost 2 Kroxigors and took out another wound on him, and the other one just has 1 wound on him. And then my Saurus then got into it with his swordsmen that were coming across to try to help save his knights, but they didn't make it in time. You can also see Wolfheart still in the building. You can see there's some Cold One cavalry on the hill. That's actually his other unit of Inner Circle Knights, and they actually were fleeing because of my Salamander's Flame template. Also, you can see on the hill my actual Saurus warriors too. They went up there to take out the mortar. They had on the previous turn taken out the cannon. So yeah, at this point, I finish off the swordsman in this battle. He's down to just the Demigryph knights who are back behind the building, Wolfheart and a few huntsmen, and that Inner Circle Knight unit doesn't have a ton of guys left in it either because of the salamanders. So he threw in the towel at this point and conceded the game. So it was a really good game. It was a lot of fun. I was really worried after losing the Slann that the combats would be a little bit tougher for me, because I think my Lizardmen really rely on that light magic. Luckily against Empire, the human stat line isn't at a point where they're so powerful that I really need the magic, so that helped me. And also having the high strength in the Kroxigor helped me get through those knights. I was also really lucky the Demigryphs kind of got stuck over on the far side out of the battle for a while. That helped me so that I could deal with just one set of knights at a time. But yeah, overall it was a really good game. I had a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting some more. Thanks for watching. Bye.